Okay, so we're back and we are going to trying to get the session schedule pulled up. So we're going to really be talking about commenting and organizing your code and args and quarks. All right, so here we can do a few things. To make our code quite a bit more understandable. I think making understandable code is kind of key to working on teams. So, like when I come into new projects, I'm just kind of like, how is anybody supposed to know what the heck went on this project? Because nothing's documented, you can't find anything, no one knows what anything is. And so, in your code, there are a few things that are kind of important for you looking the best you can when people hire you and really liking what you do. So the first thing is going to be kind of a doc string. These three quotes are one way to um, add information, and this is specifically for adding information for functions. And so you can kind of do this function defines a user name and age, and you can do that. You can also kind of add a single line comment that's kind of just there for something like adds a plus 5 pulls from main um, uh, repo. I don't know. I like README files a lot better than I like comments in my code. I like what everything does. But these are two ways to kind of add better comments to your file. You want to ensure that things are specific. So if you notice, I named these A and N, which is very unfortunate because someone can't come in and read your code for to know what it does. And so we're going to kind of rename these actually age and name. And basically, it's not required that um, you do it this way. It's not required at all. And we're going to just put string um, because I don't want to get it confused with the list that we named. Age int, right? I don't want to get it confused with the list that we made, but I do. And actually, it's not going to confuse itself, but for the humans who are reading this, I don't want to get it confused with the um, other stuff that we made. But this is just to make your code more human readable. It's clearly age integer or name string, and it's clear that what we did. So you should not, obviously don't comment things that are completely obvious. So this is completely obvious. I can read this code and understand what it does. So you don't really want to do that. You also don't want to leave, it's very common for developers to kind of just uncomment things that didn't work. That's what version control is for. So please don't just comment out stuff you didn't work, like save what was working at each step and git commit, which is a completely different class of what we're talking about. But what you really want to do is comment what's important for whoever's looking at this code to know and understand. So that simple docstring was probably going to be enough for this. And, if you need to comments can be used like plot out your code or what you want your code to do as well, which is great. So other things that are kind of important for human readability or logging. That is a whole other category of skill level. There's different logging packages. Is simply actually being able to here. If you notice, we just kind of returned this, right? That is unfortunate. And it's unfortunate because there's no understanding of what anything is. And so what we would want to do is kind of segment this out. I'm just going to call this all for now. And we'd want to do like an F string. So it'd be print um, the, and we'd have print F, the user's name is all, and we'll put 1. And age is all 0, right? And what we'll do then is add that comma there. And so now it runs and it substitutes that information into a full sentence. And so this will help you if, let's say, you need to learn how long each function is taking. And we'll talk about runtime tomorrow. You can actually just print that to a file. It's called a log file. And it'll just print out all the information of what's happening along with anything you need to know what the code is calculating. So for example, it's not uncommon when you're dealing with like millions of rows for rows to get lost somewhere and you're like, where did that happen? And just printing out the number of rows after every function or computation to see which was pulling off a ton of rows or where columns were lost. Common debugging situation. And so instead of print, you just have, it'll have a log package that you do, but you can also just print it out and it'll print out. So this is incredibly useful. There are older formats that you'll see running around, which I have tried to unteach myself. And so I won't teach you what they are. And if you see them, you can always go to the actual documentation and look it up. But as far as practicing good F-string syntax, this is kind of the current best simple syntax you can use. And you can basically code in it. You can also, if you wanted to, actually move this up yonder. I think I did something and I was playing with stuff. Yeah, let's do this. Oops. Back. Okay, let's copy this again. You can okay. It should be equivalent to this. Maybe not defined. Oh, yeah, this is string. And if I were to print, or actually, let's just remove that. There we go. So it's equivalent. So you can just return from your functions full lines, which is incredibly useful if you're building like a web development app. We're focused on more data science stuff, so I've not seen this needed in any data science stuff, but definitely for my logging when I'm making logging. Other useful, you can, I don't know, make stuff go together, multiple lines. I don't think that is as relevant anymore as I'm doing this. So we're not going to go over that. Optional arguments. So args and quarks. you might see, and this is a concept that I don't actually use that often, but I know in the more software development oriented roles, it'll be used more. And it's the concept of args and quarks. And that's basically saying, I don't know how many things I'm passing into here. You just be prepared to take all the stuff because we're just going to guess and go. How do you, I know how do you do it, but it won't necessarily mess up anything. This is, I think, args, comma, I forget quarks. I didn't write down in my notes. Args, quarks. Um, Let me make sure I spelled everything. Um, yeah, one. So one asterisk goes before args and two asterisks goes before quarks. Actually, let me copy that down to the one that I was using. And actually, so this isn't going to return like we want because I actually need to run args and quarks through here. Yeah, my brain went off on the break. Apologies. And actually, I think 9 is going to be late for my bedtime, so we probably won't do another 9 o'clock session. Right. But you pass in arcs and quarks, and I'm thinking in this case, so what it's done is just saying I don't have these variables. That's because it just won't. I'll show you why. Right, let's just go. So there's no variable named that. So here we called it a pass-through variable, whatever passed through, but I didn't tell it which ones got passed through, right? So this just accepts stuff, but there's a method of, I think, function wrapping to get the functions through here, and it just collects and lets you use it. You can have your required, so I could pass like so, and it fixes it. If you notice, it goes under. But how do I do arcs and quarks? I'm checking notes. Give me a second. I think I just have to do. Oh, I'm not creating a class. I think this is for a different one, a different day. Now that I'm looking at what I need to do. Yeah, this might have been for a different day. I think Sunday. No worries on that. Cool. That means I actually finished early. Clean code, arms. I think I had a list of things to try. Yeah. And so I'm going to stop live streaming and go into the forums and answer questions. But basically, you're going to try to do these string operations on your YouTube stats data set. And you're going to check for all of these in the Python documentation. And basically get your function to work. If you have problems, you can find me in the the chat? You find the chat? I'll leave this up so you can know what to do. You're gonna have probably the next 40 minutes to do so. I'll keep the music on probably for the next 20, and then I'll just be over in the classroom chat in the forums responding to people as needed. All right. I will see you guys.